We just received this yeast in the mail here. This is Berkeley Yeast. So they contacted us, they wanted us to try out this yeast here, and I was pretty excited about it. So they actually sent us a bottle of beer that they had made with this yeast. It's Tropics London, and it's one of those thiolized yeasts. So it's supposed to produce like a passion fruit guava type flavor. And this is the second bottle. We already tried the first one and I was extremely impressed. They claim they only use just a tiny amount of hops as a bittering hop in the beginning and no other hops, but what a burst of flavor it was. And I'm really excited to try out this yeast. So we got just a small 1 barrel pitch size just to play with it and experiment with it. It came extremely well packaged. I mean, it's a nice insulated box, this cool little container full of liquid yeast. That's supposed to be a direct 1 barrel pitch, so I'd say it's probably correct. They did pack an ice pack in here as well. So it was very well packaged, that's for sure. Now, our thought here is we couldn't decide what we wanted to try to brew with this. Like, we can go in so many directions. I so bad want to do an IPA right out of the gate, but I also think, man, what if we made a passion fruit guava fruit beer with this? That could be really good with only using just a small amount of real fruit, not adding any puree or anything into it, just letting this yeast do its thing and accenting that with the real fruit. So we thought if we tried that first, we could harvest the yeast out and try the IPA second with the same yeast. So that way we can see what this yeast could do across multiple flavors. And then we are going to do one step further. We want to make sure that this yeast is actually producing what it produced in their sample beer. So we're going to do that. We're going to do a small 5-gallon test batch with nothing but straight Pilsner malt, maybe like a couple pellets as a bittering hop in the beginning, and that's it. This is our first batch with this new yeast that we're trying. So we're doing 3 separate batches. This is going to be our fruit beer experiment. We have passion fruit and guava, which the thiols in the yeast is supposed to produce here. So we're just adding a little bit of this fruit here to this beer just to kind of boost that ester to see if it can make a killer fruit beer. So you can see here this awesome mix of fruit we just cut up here. And we actually added a little bit of water because it was cold. We didn't want to tear our mash temp down. But we're going to go ahead and add it in here. I'm going to stir it in and we'll see what happens. This is our next segment of this video. We finally got around to doing our small 5-gallon batch of the Berkeley yeast products that we've done so far. An actual fruit beer with it in the beginning, where we actually added dragon fruit, passion fruit. Then we moved on to an IPA. And we saved just enough yeast for 5 gallons. Now this is going to be the main test. This is just straight 2-row. And we're not even going to add any hops to this. No hops at all. So what we want to see is, will those flavors still come out like they claim? So this is actually going to be the most fun experiment. So to do this, we actually, Chris brought in his cool little homebrew rig, the Brewzilla. So Chris brought in his Fermzilla. This is a cool little homebrew fermenter. You can actually ferment under pressure. It's really nice. So thanks, Chris, for bringing this in and letting us do this. So what we decided, this has been about a week into fermentation. We are fermenting under pressure. We have pressure here. So we put this picnic tap on here and we want to pull a sample. We're going to pull a sample in this jar and then we're going to put this in the fridge for a couple hours and let it settle down so we can get a good sample off of it. Man, I tell you what, wow! The aroma coming off this is incredible. I mean, it's fruit right on the nose. This is our Tropics IPA. This was our second experiment utilizing this Berkeley Yeast Tropics yeast product. Here we are having our final tasting session for our Berkeley Tropics yeast. So we brewed 3 separate batches of beer utilizing the same exact yeast. We have here in the mason jar, this is sample number 1. This is just straight 2-row with the Tropics yeast. Then we move on, we brewed a separate batch of Tropics fruit beer, and it only has about 10 pounds of fruit. We used about 5 pounds each of passion fruit and guava fruit into this, and that was it. And the rest of it is really just 2-row and a little bit of dextran malt. And we have beer sample number 3, and this one I can't wait to try. This one's like really exciting here. We brewed, actually Chris did most of the brewing on this one. What hops did you use on this again?
Citra and El Dorado.
Okay, we did a 15-minute and a flame out, right?
Yes.
And then you dry hopped, right?
Then I dry hopped it. First time I dry hopped it, it was with El Dorado and Citra. Second was El Dorado Citra. Last dry hop was just Citra.
Okay, so we brewed this in a hazy style. We put like, I think a little bit of wheat in this. So it was kind of brewed in like a hazy style. There's no lactose or anything like that in there. But we did do the dry hopping early enough so we could get that biotransformation, and it looks nice and hazy. So we're gonna dive right in. Let's start with this one, bud.
Now this isn't carbonated. This just came out of the little fermenter.
Yeah, we just pulled this a couple hours ago. Oh, the nose is incredible on that. And actually it looks pretty clean too. It was pretty much right at the end of fermentation. We didn't cold crash it or anything other than putting this in the fridge.
That's incredible.
I gotta say, like, you know, I would not have believed it if we didn't do this experiment.
I'm right there with you.
That yeast could produce this kind of flavor.
The passion fruit, the citrus, tangerine, orange, there's a lot going in there.
Oh, that's what that, you know, since you mentioned a tangerine, I'm totally getting tangerine there.
Granted, there's still a lot of yeast in suspension, but wow, the flavors. Actually, that would be a really good summer drink.
Yeah. If we would have let this kind of finish cleaning up and carbonated and stuff,
oh yeah.
I think it would have been actually pretty incredible. Although we are planning on, I think, just dumping this beer, to be honest with you. It was a little 5-gallon batch. But this is the test, and man.
Actually pretty impressed.
Yeah, very impressed. Now, I will say, for the record, I know I'm screwing this up because I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. Is it thiolized yeast or thiolized yeast? I'm wanting to say it's thiolized, but I'm not for sure. I've read a lot about it. I haven't actually talked to many people about it. So, but that is like, I guess, the technology here. It's like genetically engineering this yeast to produce these kinds of flavors. So now we're moving on to, this is our Tropics fruit beer. Now, we did actually tap this week, but it's interesting to taste these side by side. Oh my God, that's so good.
Yeah, the passion fruit really pulls for me. Grapefruity. And it's really surprising, selling this just in the last week or so, a lot of IPA drinkers really were very impressed with it. They drank a lot of it. So,
and there's not very much hops. I think we used, what, maybe a 1/4 ounce of hops in this?
Maybe.
Like a bittering hop,
yeah.
You know? And we wanted to just see what that fruit would do and how that yeast really plays with the fruit. And it's very complex, it really is, but
oh, yeah.
I think that fruit did pull.
Every time you take a sip, it seems to build.
And it's very complex because I am getting a little bit of the tangerine, but actually I feel like it's less of the tangerine in this than this.
Oh yeah.
And I'm starting to get more of the passion fruit, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And that's obviously coming from that fruit that we have in there. All right, so far it's terrific. Now, the one that we've been waiting for, the Tropics IPA. Right off the nose, you get that IPA hop smell, but you also get all those fruits in there too. I'm getting grapefruit on the nose on this one, which I wasn't getting in any of these guys.
Definitely grapefruit.
Oh yeah, the taste is grapefruit. My guess is the grapefruit had to come from the hops, right?
That's what I'm assuming. Probably the El Dorado.
Yeah.
That's what I'm assuming.
But so it's so complex though. Like, it's weird. I get that tangerine taste in the beginning, and then that grapefruit kind of kicks in after you swallow, almost like sits on the back of your tongue.
It's a very nice rounded beer.
Yeah,
I'm really excited to get our IPA drinkers in the bar drinking this one and see what they have to say. I am totally 100% sold on this yeast. Very nice job.
Yeah, so cheers to you, Berkeley. We will be buying your yeast products again. Like I said, I will post a link in the description below to their site, so if you guys are interested in trying this yeast out. But you know, I think that utilizing this yeast, you could make an IPA and really back off the hops. I mean, I think we put a decent amount of hops in this.
We put a lot of hops in this.
So probably about the same of what we would use on a traditional IPA, but I think that we could have backed off the hops on this.
At least half.
Yeah.
At least half.
And still had a great result. So it could be a little bit more affordable to produce in that case.
Think so. Yeah.
Granted, this yeast is a little bit more expensive, but overall, I would say like a 10 out of 10 for this yeast experiment.
And the yeast, after we pitched it, took off immediately.
Oh yeah, it was very healthy yeast.
Very healthy yeast.
And
it was packaged extremely well.
Yeah.
Came in, I think it was only like a day and a half we had the yeast, and it was cold. So
we're gonna have to send one of these cans over to Berkeley. Let them try it out. All right, thanks guys, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button.